Okay, gang, you should be looking at a worksheet titled Finding Roots with a Calculator. So this is going to be a follow-up to what we did yesterday, except I'm going to show you how to do some of these types of problems using your calculator to help you out. So first, looking at number one, consider that polynomial there, and it asks how many total roots are there counting multiplicities. You should know the answer to that one. We know from previous work that that should be 3. Because it has a degree of 3, right? It has x cubed up at the top up here, so therefore we know there are 3. What are the possible rational roots? So we learned this the other day, and we know that we can make our list. So we're going to do the p's divided by the q's, and based on our list then we know it's going to be plus or minus 1, 3, 5, and 15. All right, so those are our possible rational roots. Now, it says using your graphing calculator, identify there. You'll notice that I entered in my equation into my graphing calculator. And now what I want to do is I want to take a look at it and I want to see what this looks like when I graph it. So when I graph it, notice that nothing got graphed, and it's because my window is all wrong. So I need to fix my window. So if I go to window, well, actually, let's just try zoom. I'm going to go zoom to the standard window. And there you can see the standard window actually worked. And if I'm looking for roots, I can tell by looking over here that it appears on my calculator where my arrow is pointing, it appears that one of the roots is at 3. So I'm going to start then using your graphing calculator. It appears that one of the roots is 3. So then that's where I'm going to start with synthetics. So 1, -7, 17, -15, and I'm going to start off with 3. So 1 comes down, that makes 3, that makes -4, that makes -12, that makes 5, that makes 15, that makes 0. So it works. So then I'm left with x squared minus 4x plus 5. Now that can't be factored, so I have two options. I can either complete the square or I can use the quadratic formula. So if I want to use the quadratic formula, I would get 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 4, so minus 20 over 2. So then that's going to give me 4 plus or minus square root of -4 over 2. That's going to give me 4 plus or minus 2i over 2, which is going to give me 2 plus or minus I. So my actual roots then are 3, because I knew that from calculator, and also 2 plus or minus I. All right, so those are the roots. So the calculator helped me narrow down my list. All right, number 2, we did one of those the other day in class, so you should be familiar with that. You can remember the way we solved that. Problem like number 2 we did in class the other day. So one of the factors is going to be x plus 1. For the other factor, we're going to have x equals plus or minus the square root of 6. To get rid of that plus or minus, I'm going to square both sides. So that's going to give me x squared equals 6. So that's going to be x squared minus 6. So then what I would do is I would do x plus 1 times x squared minus 6, and then we would FOIL that out, and we would get x cubed plus x squared minus 6x minus 6. And that then would be the polynomial for that one. All right, let's do number 3 together, and then I'm going to turn you loose on your own. So if we take a look at number 3, how many total roots are there counting multiplicities? We know there are 4. What are the possible rational roots? Well, the factors of 40 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, 20, and 40, and it's plus or minus. So there's a ton of possible choices. I really don't want to have to synthetically figure that out, so I'm going to reach for my calculator. Y equals, clear out that old one that's going to be x to the 4th this time, minus 6 x to the 3rd, plus 6 x squared plus 24x minus 40. And let's just see if the zoom graph works. Looking at my graph here, I can't see the whole graph, but I can see two of them. So it appears like -2 is one of the possibilities where it crosses, and also +2. So based on my graph, those are the two that I'm going to start with. So then I'm going to start synthetically. 1, -6, 6, 24, and 40, -40. And I'm going to start with -2. Could have started with 2, it didn't really matter. So the 1 comes straight down, that's going to make -2, which is going to make -8, which is going to make 16, which is going to make 22, which is going to make -44, which is going to make -20, which is going to make +40, which is going to make 0. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other root. It looks like 2 also works. 1, that makes 2, that makes -6, that makes -12, which makes 10, which makes 20, which makes 0. So that works. So then I'm left with x squared minus 6x plus 10. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't factor, so off to the side, I'm going to need to either complete the square or the quadratic formula. Well, last time I did quadratic formula, so how about this time I do completing the square? I'm going to move the 10 over, which makes -10. Add half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9, so I'm going to add 9 to both sides. That's going to give me x minus 3 squared equals -1. Take the square root, I get x minus 3 equals plus or minus I. X is going to equal 3 plus or minus I. So my roots are -2, 2, and 3 plus or minus I. Okay, so those are the roots. And that's it. We're not going to worry about the factored form part. And then I want you to try the rest on your own. Good luck.